Okay, less than 103, more Eastern Civil War battles later in the war. At Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville, the Confederates had massive victories, and the battles were really horrific. Tons of casualties. At Fredericksburg, the Union threw thousands and thousands of soldiers at a fortified, elevated Confederate line across a wide open field, and as they continued to ram themselves against it, the Union found nothing but more death and destruction, eventually having to give up. At Chancellorsville, great and efficient movements by Stonewall Jackson and Robert E. Lee catch the Union off guard and by surprise as they move too quickly and too efficiently for them for another great Confederate victory. Unfortunately, for the Confederates, after Chancellorsville, Jackson was shot by his own men. This leads to Gettysburg. At Gettysburg, the Confederates get maybe a little bit too aggressive. They invade into the north, and they make some mistakes. Their scouts are off doing other things than doing their scouting. They are unprepared, and they run into a massive Union army just outside of Gettysburg. In day one, the Confederates get the best of it, and they push the Union up on a series of hills and ridges outside of Gettysburg. This is called Culp's Hill, Cemetery Ridge, Little Round Top, and Round Top. And immediately Robert E. Lee realizes that they're in bad shape because they've given up the high ground. He orders one of his generals to charge up the hill and break through that line before the Union can fortify it. However, that job never gets done. So in day one, although the Confederates kind of get the best of the fighting, they leave the Union in a very strong fighting position where they're in a nice tight position and they can reinforce each other. They also have more soldiers, and then overnight, thousands more soldiers will pile into Gettysburg on both sides, as it is many roads that lead to Gettysburg and many rail lines. And as a result, the battle will get much bigger in day two. On day two, Lee orders an all-out attack at Round Top, Little Round Top, Culp's Hill, and Cemetery Hill. They concentrate their attack at Little Round Top because they expected the Union to be weaker there, and they were. The 20th of Maine, a group of misfits, were leading the Union there. People who were cast out of other divisions, other brigades, people who had not been good soldiers. But somehow, even though they run out of bullets at Little Round Top, the 20th of Maine holds the line there and maybe saves the entire war. As Colonel Joshua Chamberlain orders a bayonet charge when they were out of bullets to save the hill and save the line. There was fierce fighting at Round Top and at Cemetery Hill as well, and then fierce fighting at Culp's Hill. At Culp's Hill, the Confederates fight their way all the way up to the crest of the hill, but can't quite get over the top. And so in day two, the Union barely holds the line and holds strong. On day three, the Confederates order a all-out charge at the middle of the Union line at Cemetery Ridge. Pickett's charge right here. It was a massive attack across an open field. The Union could see them coming. Early on in the day, Confederate artillery bombarded their positions, and because the Union was not firing back, they thought they were doing tremendous damage to the Union Army, but actually they were shooting over the top and missing, and the Union was just waiting for them to charge. So when they charged, the Union was prepared and gunned them down as they ran across this field. Still, the Confederates fought valiantly and worked their way all the way to the crest of the hill, but eventually Union reinforcements from other areas were enough to overwhelm and defeat the Confederates in perhaps the most epic day of fighting of the entire war and most tragic day of fighting of the entire war, as these fields and these hills leading up to Cemetery Ridge are just littered with death and devastation. Overall, Gettysburg, on day four, the Confederates retreat and kind of bait the Union and try to get the Union to maybe attack them. General Meade decides not to attack them, and he allows the wounded Confederates to escape back into Virginia, something that he will take a lot of criticism for. Of course, the big save here was that in day two. Day one, not a whole lot happened, just pushed up in the high ground. Day two, Little Round Top probably may have saved the war in the east for the Union. And day 3, Pickett's charge, 15,000 men try to cross this field and up this ridge. Only half of them survive it without serious injury. This is a closer look at Pickett's charge. As you can see, line after line of Confederates smashing into the Union there. And there you can see kind of the fierce fighting that went all, as you can see, the Confederates got all the way to the top of the ridge before being finally pushed back. This is the turning point of the war. From this point forward, the Confederates will never be in Union territory, and the Union will have the momentum. You can see 165,000 plus troops fought at Gettysburg. It was a massive battle, and almost a third of them were serious casualties, as is a true tragedy.